headquarters of First Unitarian Universalist Church in the Museum District. And who would have thought that in the time of emancipation we would have this much diversity on both sides of this podium? It's quite remarkable how far we have come. For several years, our church has participated in the preservation of Freedmen's Town. We've worked with the Yates Museum and participated in special events like the Juneteenth Family Heritage Day reunion at St. James. And more recently, several of us did stand in those brick streets at issue today for a blessing ceremony. And I appreciate your interest in preserving this area. Freedmen's Town is included in the National Register of Historic Places because it's associated with cultural practices or beliefs of a living community that are rooted in the community's history and are important in maintaining and continuing the cultural identity of that community. It's called a traditional cultural property or place, and that's what the district is regardless of how many houses have been knocked down. These designs are important. They were pointing the way to safe houses in the black community or to religious traditions of the Yoruba people of West Africa. And I want to conclude by saying, who would have thought that the descendants of freed slaves and the descendants of slave owners and everybody else in between would be having this conversation? We are preserving history here, and I think we are all in favor of that. It's the right thing to do for us to do together. Thank you.
Councilmember Boykins.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a tough one here because I don't think nobody in their right mind would support, going against the history of what those bricks stand for. I'm definitely not a supporter of removing them. I don't know what to do because I'm going to drive this evening, as a matter of fact. As the mayor mentioned, and several comments have been made about the overlay to the bricks. I don't know what to do. Maybe my colleague, Councilmember Costello, who's a civil engineer that works on streets, if he may share a light, may agree with the study that's out there. I have no idea what to do. Micro-tunneling, I was told, can run in excess of $1 million. That may not be the issue. Question I have to ask myself, what works? What works? At the same time, trying to preserve the historical efforts that's been put into putting those bricks down. So I don't know what to do. And I'm going to go and look myself, try to bring back some reasoning to figure out how we can save those bricks, do them the right way. If tunneling, micro-tunneling will work, fight for that. If not, we're going to have to do something because my understanding of the street is sinking in. And I thank you and my neighbor and Doris Ellis and everybody who have been fighting for this. Give me something. Because right now I'm just not certain what can be done. If we leave it as is, and just micro-tunnel, even with the overlay, will that hold up? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know the
because
answers.
I do understand the sensitivity. Let me be clear about that. Of why those bricks are there, being a native Houstonian, understanding the history there, why it's important to keep them there. But can they? Just give me something.
Well, Craig mentioned some of their engineers. I haven't talked to them myself, but maybe engineers can talk to engineers and work it out.
Well, is staff time. Doris, are you speaking today?
I'm not on the list to speak, but I do know some things.
Doris Ellis knows some things. That's the truth.
Okay. Well, I know. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am?
Sorry, ma'am.
Mayor, I always support the great work of my colleague, Councilmember Cohen, and I'm definitely very sensitive to the history and some of the sensitivity around the issue and what everyone's expressing. I'm just curious, if there could be any type of a compromise where maybe we're practical and realistic in trying to address it the way the city has deemed, we need to move forward to get this done. But maybe we could do a small demonstration project where maybe one block or something where we could try something different to at least preserve some of the history that you're describing and keep it as intact as possible. We may not be able to solve every brick out there the way it's been laid out in the patterns, but maybe there's at least a small portion that we can. And so I'm just curious if that might be a way forward to somehow document that history, or at least maintain, maybe, I don't know how much it would be to microtunnel one street, maybe not every street, but maybe one street, so at least we have that. I hate for everything to be done one way or another, where maybe there's just a way down the middle that we just come together and find that way. But also understand that we have to make tough decisions here. We have to be practical and realistic and consider all the information we have in hand. We're getting one perspective from, on the city side, and then obviously the community input, which is very important. And we're tasked with having to make a decision when obviously we weren't at every meeting, and we have to trust our colleague, but we also have to be sensitive to the issue. So I'm just curious if we could find a way forward. I guess it's more of a rhetorical question, or maybe just a suggestion, but just thought I'd put that out there.
Yeah, well, I hope we can, and particularly the crossroads are very important religiously, where the ancestors, the spirits are alive and working in the community. Any other questions?
Councilmember Cohen. Thank you, and I agree, obviously, and that's why I support the preservation. I think what we're talking about is trying to take, one of the things is taking pictures of the bricks, the way they are now and how they're laid out, so that if they have to be lifted and the work done for the infrastructure, that to the best of everyone's engineering ability, that they be placed back the way they were, and hopefully in a way that will preserve them better so that they're not as likely to be damaged by heavy equipment and other poor attempts at maintaining it over the years. So that's what we're trying to do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Jaguar.